I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. Surface map right now shows a fairly calm scenario unfolding across the nation's midsection. Our warm front has actually moved quite nicely across the Corn Belt. It's moving across Lake Michigan and northern Indiana right now. This will open up the door to west and southwest winds. Lots of sunshine, and that means all of the snow that fell in various places early in the weekend and back into last Friday should be gone very, very quickly. We're going to be seeing dry weather right on through Wednesday across the Corn Belt. Now, things get a little bit interesting farther west on Wednesday as folks are getting ready to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday, looking at some snow. Northeast Colorado, northwest Kansas, parts of western Nebraska, southeast Wyoming. And then as we go into the Thanksgiving Day holiday, probably looking at good strong rain and thunderstorm action central to eastern Kansas as the front gets going. That front will push eastward as we move through Thanksgiving Day. So western parts of the Corn Belt pick up rain Thanksgiving Day into early Black Friday, and then it moves across the eastern Corn Belt Friday, looking at rains there. The heaviest rains out of that front will likely be over the west, where we can see 1/2 to 1.5 inch rainfall totals as the front goes from eastern Illinois across the rest of the Corn Belt, probably looking at lesser amounts, 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. I think if you lump the Corn Belt together, we're looking at 85% coverage. If you want to lump the plains in with this as well, probably looking at 75 to 80% coverage. So it's a deal that everybody sees some action from Wednesday afternoon right on through Friday. Now, behind that, we will see a cool down again. As a matter of fact, in the Corn Belt and upper Midwest, you can look at what happened this past weekend as a template for what we expect next weekend. I'm looking for temperatures to drop rather significantly Saturday, Sunday, maybe even lingering into Monday the 30th. But we will then see temperatures moderate again as we go on through the first part of next week. It's a fairly dry 10-day period here with the next system not really getting going until you get into about December 6th. So, yeah, we're dry ahead of this big Thanksgiving Day system, dry behind it. Watch the system on the 6th that probably does about 1/2 to maybe 1 inch of rain across parts of the Corn Belt, especially the south. Missouri, Illinois, Indiana areas look like they're going to be the best hit out of that system. And then we're going to start to see, I think, a little bit more activity cranking up as we go. Following that, the upstream pattern looks active with systems all the way back out into the Pacific Ocean. Now, as we take a look internationally, there's not a lot of spectacular changes here. I find it interesting. Some folks are talking about action down in South America, saying, oh, the 2-week period is mostly dry over Brazil. This is something that needs to be watched. I will say this. The current setup right now looks similar to the dry period that we saw last year, and the soybean crop turned out to be just fine. As I look at Brazil going through the next 10 days, plenty of moisture up through Mato Grosso do Sul, over through Sao Paulo and southward. So it's that same south and southeast Brazil area that we've talked about. I will grant you that the action looks a lot more hit and miss. Bigger dry windows over the central north, Mato Grosso, Goiás, Minas Gerais, Bahia. A lot of those places seeing less rain, but the thing is we're not turning it off completely. I'm still seeing a decent round of scattered showers about every day and a half to 2 days popping up and moving through. I don't think you can say that the Mato Grosso area is bone dry and is missing out on everything. I don't think so. Is it as wet as areas farther south? No, of course not. Is it ever? Not really. So that's the thing to keep in mind as we watch this going forward. There will be some dry pockets. I'm going to look at coverage over Mato Grosso and that central north area, probably 50 to 60%. That's not ideal, but it's by far not even remotely close to a drought-type scenario down there. Make sure you filter your information through several different lenses before you try and figure out what you believe in terms of action on the ground in South America. Other parts of the world that we need to monitor right now, well, on the wheat side, we're back to being a little bit concerned over dryness in Australia. Should we be? Maybe. We've got strong high pressure in play off the south coast, and it's going to be keeping a large part of wheat areas dry. Do see the scattered action popping up a little bit later this week as we go on through. Very limited action. I'm not looking at good rains anytime in the next 7 days. Watching a system that develops over northern Australia, probably toward the end of this weekend into early next week. Can it shift south? That would be moving counter to the way you would normally expect things to move. But I guess I'm not going to rule it out yet, especially for areas like New South Wales, Victoria, that eastern third of the wheat belt. I think we can see some action kind of getting pulled down as another strong low develops there. Western Australia, definitely the place to be concerned about on the dry side in Australia going forward. That's the way things are stacking up here at midday. If you've got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.